It started with my dog. No, seriously, I walk my dog every morning, right?
Yeah.
and I got to a point where I was like, if I'm gonna walk the dog, I might as well run. And so I was like, I did it because I wanted to get cardiovascular health. I wasn't trying to lose weight. I just wanted to. My grandma died from congestive heart failure, so I was like, I probably need to get a healthier heart.
That's right.
So I started just running with my dog, like a run walk. Just going with my dog, just trying to be a little more active. And then by virtue of doing anything, you get better at it.
That's right. Man, that's,
Right?
Yeah.
So now my run walk with my dog became more of less of a run, walk, and more of a run, walk, walk, right? And then it became run. And now it's like, I don't even find myself really getting tired anymore when I run, but not winded.
Yes.
But my legs will get tired sometimes, right? Because you running works your legs a lot. And then also, like, if you're doing squats or anything else on top of that, that's a lot of workout. But it just kind of got better at it, and as I got better at it, weight started coming off. And as weight started coming off, it started motivating me to keep doing it.
That's good stuff.
And now 50-something pounds later, I don't even know what my goal is. I have a routine that I like, and so I just kind of keep doing it, and hopefully keep losing weight, keep getting healthier.
Yeah. So it's like you don't have a goal. I hit finish line to hit right now.
I did have a goal. The goal, remember, the goal was 220. I wanted to be 220 by my birthday.
Yeah.
And I missed it by like 3 pounds.
And you were so disappointed.
I was disappointed, and he was like, you lost like 50 pounds, right?
You were disappointed in the last.
I was like, yeah, you're right. So now that I've hit the goal, now I'm just like, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing because it's a routine that works for me.
Yes.
And I'm benefiting from it, so.
Intentional habits, man. Yeah.
That's good.
You mentioned alcohol. So in your desire to become a social drinker. So talk about that decision, why, let me say before you answer that. So we talked about Sammy's episode, these beer festivals, and a lot of these pictures are from these festivals, right?
Yeah.
And so I've talked about just, for me, it was a purge, really, for me. But it has not been a purge for everybody. So, and some people have been able to kind of navigate through it. John, for example. Sammy is another example.
Yes.
Talk about where you are and why consider doing something different.
So I used to be a craft beer head. I used to brew my own beer. I used to talk to you guys about it all the time. You guys have tasted some of my beer before.
More than some.
And actually now, when I go back and look at a lot of the pictures from when we used to go to beer festivals and stuff, like, I was massive. Like, I was a real big dude. I feel like I still am a big dude, but when I look at those pictures, man, I'm like, yo, what have you done to yourself? Right? Not like, why were you doing so much? But I think that there could still be some damage that you do to yourself, even when you stop. You've already drunk the alcohol, right?
Lingering,
yeah. And so I look back at those pictures and see, like, I wasn't healthy, and it was because I was doing a lot of drinking at the time. I can use evidence from when I was from when fasting. I would fast. I would limit alcohol consumption to like the weekends, and I could tell there was evidence that when I drank on the weekends, I did gain weight. So I unraveled a lot of the work that I had done.
Yeah.
But I still kept drinking because it was my vice. I enjoyed it. I wasn't like an alcoholic. I just enjoyed, just like most people, right? And just recently, I decide I'm drying out for January, as I've done a couple of Januaries. And this year, with my aggressive fasting that I'm doing right now, or I wouldn't even say it's aggressive, just with my fasting schedule right now, I can already see the weekends when I haven't drank. I don't have to spend the first 3 days of the week trying to regain the progress that I unraveled to start making true new progress, right?
Yes.
So now I witness, I'm like, okay, I get to, if I don't run, I run 5 days a week. Friday, I'm a certain weight.
Yes.
Now, if I'm not drinking on Monday when it's time to run again, I'm pretty much at that same weight.
Yes.
So I get to kind of pick the progress back up.
Yeah.
And also with just recent science has shown that alcohol consumption increases cancer risk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to check out early. Right?
Recent studies coming out. Gina's been sending me stuff. Just esophageal cancer, colorectal cancer, liver cancer. It's like 5 of them.
Yeah,
So,
and also it doesn't matter what type of alcohol. So it's not like hard liquor versus beer. It's alcohol, period.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good, man. Good. Well, I think that's incredible, man. And it's super inspirational, man. So.
And I also want to say, so during that process, that's why I was like, okay, am I even missing it? And I realized that I'm not missing it. It's not like I want to go grab a beer or I want to go have a cocktail. So if I'm not even missing it and it's not helpful to me, why
dive back in?
Yeah, why dive back into it? So that's why.
Yeah.
You know.
I said 2 things yesterday on text. We text a lot, and I said, first of all, I appreciate you. Being flexible or being giving me space to take this journey. And I said, I hope I haven't been judgmental, because it can be, it's a solo kind of journey. But I remember we were at someplace in Greenville. I think you probably do not remember this, but it was this was post my call, so I'm trying to do better in life at this point. And we were at a brewery, and I had food. I didn't have a drink. I had a cup of water, and you asked me, he's like, wait, so you don't want it anymore? And I was like, nah, I don't want it anymore, man.
And that seemed so foreign to me. And I was like, so we're sitting here at this brewery.
Do you remember that?
I vaguely. Yeah. And there's delicious beer.
Right here.
Look, it's delicious.
And you don't even want any? Like, you don't have no desire to taste it? And you said no, and I was like, that seems so foreign to me. And right now, I feel like I could go to a brewery just to eat
the food.
Just to eat the food and not have a single drop.
Yeah. So I don't know why I thought about that, but
that's
I do appreciate the space you've given me to take this journey.
Yeah, man. Listen. I mean, we're friends, man, and we're brothers.
Yeah.
And you weren't doing anything that was gonna hurt yourself, so why? It was only for the betterment of you.
Yeah.
So why would I not support that? You know what I mean?
True. So, go ahead. Was up? Somebody about to say something?
No. Good. That's good stuff, man.
10 questions. Should we find these 10 questions from the questionnaire? Do you know where it is?
You remember the original questionnaire we sent out?
I can. We might have to.
We can pull it from the fast way out.
Yeah. Let me try to find this.
You guys mentioned some questions in the last podcast. I think it was 3 questions from the movie The Forge.
Yeah, this would be something different.
Those, but I know this is different, but I think that those are really cool and introspective questions.
Should we try to
So
hit those questions?
Yeah, no, we can.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
All right. So in the last episode, if you are new, go back and watch the last episode. But we talked about the movie The Forge. It's on Netflix, and this guy asked these 3 questions. And so the first question was, what kind of growth do you want to make in the next year? So what would you say?
I'm my relationship with God, man. I've 100% been on a quest to grow my faith, and the further I go on that quest, on that journey, the further I want to go. You kind of get hungry a little bit, right? You kind of want to learn more and more and more.
Right,
and last year I did the Bible in a year, and doing that, once you kind of understand the story and you kind of stop looking at the Bible as a collection of verses, but look at it as a book that's telling us a story about God, it becomes a fascinating book. Mm-hmm. And beyond it becoming a fascinating book, you start realizing that I can read this from cover to cover, and there's so much beautiful information in here that there's no way I'm going to retain all this. Mm-hmm. So let me read it again, and it becomes a whole new book all over again.
Yeah.
Right? And so growing my relationship with God and learning more, learning more about Him, growing closer to Him. That's primarily what I want to do more in the next year.
I definitely want to come back and talk about the Bible in a year.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's pencil that and come back to that.
For sure.
So great answer. Joe, you want anything? You want me to go to the next question?
I appreciate that perspective because my viewpoint is the opposite. Like I like to dive in and burrow down deep into the soil. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like with going through the prophets, I'm able to take my time and as rabbit hole because when you're reading the scripture and it refers to something you don't know, it's like, man, I got to go back and read that. Then you go back and read that, and it refers to something you don't know. You got to go down another rabbit hole and see. I like chasing all those rabbit holes. So my approach to the Bible is like, I'm gonna dive right here and I'm gonna burrow deep down into it. But to have somebody who reads it, and I don't want to say shallow, but I want to say more of a broad perspective. You know what I'm saying? Going through the whole thing. Because, I mean, as you get more revelation and you read it again, it's a completely different story.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate that perspective because my perspective is the exact opposite.
But I think that everyone should at some point read the Bible from a shallow perspective. I think that everyone should read it at least one time from, whether you do New Testament then Old Testament or Old Testament then New Testament.
Yeah.
You should just read through it one time. Go just read through it and get an idea of the story.
Yes.
Then go back and read it with intention, right? Read it looking for something. Read it looking for God on the pages instead of just reading it as recreational reading material.
That seeking thing, huh?
Yeah.
Seek first.
There's something about that. He might be knowing what you're talking about. Just me.
We might as well stay on the Bible, man. Let's just stay here. So
Okay.
You mentioned doing the Bible in a year. You just kind of threw that out like it was nothing. So why did you do that? What did something prompt you to think about doing that? What resource did you use? Like, say more about that.
So I want to. Can I take the story back a little bit before we get there?
Absolutely.
So I grew up going to church. Wasn't unfamiliar with God.
Can I say something?
Sure.
You're the first, and this is when we're in South Quad, and I don't even know how we got on the topic, but you were talking about God's grace, and you were talking about how we live under God's grace, not under the old rule of the Old Testament or whatever. And it was like, this dude in college talking about this stuff. What's going on here?
You
See what I'm
remember
saying?
that from college?
I remember that. Yeah.
Do I remember it?
No.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
So you talking about coming up knowing that stuff? I'm just
Yeah. So I mean, because my brother is a very influential person in my life, and
Marcos.
he when he was in college, he exposed me to a lot more about the Bible than what I had grown up with in church, right? So I kind of always knew about God, but never decided to take it seriously. And this was the case throughout most of my life, to be honest with you. And then you get to a certain point, you get educated, and then sometimes intellectualism can start to kick in. And I was at a point where I didn't like God, and it was because I was thinking about slavery, and I was like, if you have slave masters praying for essentially the status quo to stay the same, right? And you have slaves praying for freedom, who is God listening to? He got to be listening to somebody, right? And we were enslaved for 200 and something years, or if you include Jim Crow and all that stuff. It's like 400 years of slavery in America. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't rock with him. I can't rock with him like that if that's what he felt was okay, felt was right. And just kept going life. That was kind of like my beef. And one of my friends actually went through something, and I saw how faith kind of carried him through it. This was Freddie.
Yeah.
Faith kind of carried him through it, and also you were all, and prior to that, you were getting really your I don't want to just call it a calling, because I truly believe that you had a divine experience. You had a divine encounter. You had a divine encounter with God, and
Shh, don't put that out there, man. Don't tell. It's out there now.
but I mean, you told me about it, and I thought it was it was fascinating, and it piqued my interest, and so that seed was kind of planted.
Yeah, the seeking.
And then Freddie kind of was going through his thing, and that kind of me seeing how his mom poured into him spiritually, right? And I kind of started. I was like, I also at the same time became overly obsessed with my mortality, but not in a healthy way. It was very from a very fearful
I kind of
perspective.
remember that. I think I remember us talking about it a little bit.
Yeah, I was very fearful of it, and then finally I was like, why am I so afraid of why am I so consumed with my mortality, and why am I so fearful? And I was like, I need to work on my faith. And I just kind of started, me and Freddie and Kale started doing daily devotionals on the Bible app.
Yes.
And we also started kind of doing like a little Bible study, the three of us. And through that process, I started kind of getting hungry and started wanting to learn more and more and read more. And so last year I was like, okay, I'm gonna go through the Bible, and I did that, and that was going through that process. About halfway through it is when I was like, okay, something is happening. Like I don't know.
What's this feeling? What is this?
Yeah, it's something was happening, and then like I knew that God was working, but I didn't know what it was. I still don't know exactly what it was, but I could feel that something was changing. And what was the original question?
Yeah, we still on question 1, I think. We got to get through 3 of them. We were talking about the Bible in a year. What caused you to do that?
Okay.
You were halfway through.
So doing the Bible in a year, it was a way to keep me accountable.
Yeah.
It was a way it gave me something to guide me in a devotional sense.
Yeah.
And it kept me accountable because I knew that there was something for me to do every day.
Yes.
And I also did it with friends because accountability again, right? And so yeah, that's how I got into doing the Bible in a year. And even I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way through it last year, I already made a decision that I'm gonna do this again. I'm probably gonna just do this every single year from now on.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing. Maybe we could link up and figure out how to do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, I use the Bible app.
Okay.
So.
Speaking of the Bible, so knew we were gonna have you on. We were talking about just different translations, and you know a lot about the thought for thought and stuff that I am learning about still.
I wouldn't say I know a lot. No.
Oh, he's modest. I said, you know what? People put a lot of thought and effort and energy into picking the right Bible and arguing about which one is right and why you don't read this one and why you should read that one. And it's a lot of fighting just on the translation. And so I said, let me just grab the ones I have in the house. And so I'm in seminary, and I think I grabbed 7.
You got a lot of Bibles.
I brought them out. You helped me carry them out here. I was like, and we almost slipped and fell kind of
nice.
On the ice. I mean, I got 7, right? So I got NIV, I got CSB, I got the NRSV, I got Gina's got one, my kids got one. I got a NIV that's like a picture Bible, and so talk about just the importance of, well, is it important, number one, to have the right one, or is it not that important? Or just for anybody interested in trying to get a Bible, what kind of advice would you give them?
First and foremost, I would say that initially it doesn't matter. Just get a Bible. Because whether you get a King James Version, a ESV, a NIV, a NLT, it ain't gonna steer you wrong. It's gonna teach you about God. Hopefully, you're gonna learn about his character, learn about who he is, and develop a relationship with him. Right. So just get a Bible and read it. Now, the different translations, they were all done at different times and oftentimes for different reasons.
Yes.
Right. And also, each translation is geared toward a certain reading level, right? You got some that's you just got to have a 4th grade reading level to be able to understand. Some of them you got to have a 12th grade reading level to understand. So I think that when it starts to matter is when you take into account the reason why you're reading the Bible. Mm-hmm. If you're just reading it from a leisurely perspective, there's a translation that's good for you, and that's okay, right? But if you're reading it to study it, you might need to get a Bible that's more geared toward studying.
Yes.
And also, again, it depends on who's reading it. Your child might need a Bible that's more geared towards them, mm-hmm. right? Versus what you might need, and your mom might need something different from what you might need.
That's right.
So it does matter, but it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What translation do you have? Do you have a specific one that you read?
So right now I read the New Living Translation.
Okay.
And I also have a CSB, the Apologetics Bible. I just recently got this New Living Translation because it's called the Jesus-centered Bible. Mm-hmm. And you know how Bibles have the Jesus' words are in red.
That's right.
This Bible is so fascinating, right? Because the Old Testament has blue writing in it.
Okay.
The blue writing points to every time in the Old Testament where they're pointing to Jesus.
Really?
Yes.
So it's like even like right now I'm reading in Job.
Yes.
Which has weirdly become one of my favorite books of the Bible, right?
Yeah. We might have to park on Job. Should we park on Job?
So like Job, there are things in Job that I'm reading and I read it, and even though that I see that it's blue, right? I know they're pointing at Jesus, but something in my mind, I'm not as good at scripture. You're probably much better at remembering scripture than I am. You can recall. No, okay, but like I'll read something and in my head I'll be like, I have read that before.
Yes. But you'll reach out to me, I'll be like, call Joey. I don't know.
But not only I read it before, but I read it in the Bible before, mm-hmm. but it wasn't here.
Yes.
And it's like, and then you look at it and you start doing a little bit of reference. You're like, this is the same exact phrase. Mm-hmm. Jesus said the same thing in the New Testament that Job said here in the Old Testament. And when I started seeing stuff like that, well, I noticed that before I got the Blue Letter Bible. Mm-hmm. When I noticed that when it became a super fascinating book even more, right?
Connecting more dots.
Yeah.